Welcome back to the Dragon Den. My loyal Dragon Knights King of Dragons 5000 is back with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series, The Mandalorian. And so here we have Mando posing out of the packaging, and before we have a look at the figure, let's run through his accessories. The Mandalorian does come with his blaster, his vibro knife, the Darksaber, and his jetpack. So with his accessories out of the way, let's have a closer look at the Mandalorian. Having a look at the Mandalorian's details, Hasbro has actually improved their mold for Mando here. Resizing some of his armor and making his helmet slightly bigger does give him better proportions. Having a look at his helmet, I'm very impressed by the amount of details Hasbro is able to put into it. His T-visor is nicely done with a glossy black, and it does look really good. And the silver used for the rest of his helmet is very vibrant, and I love how it reflects the light. It does have some very impressive details on the sides, and they look really good here. His chest piece is slightly bigger than what we've gotten in the past, and it does a really good job conveying the proportions here. He of course does have his bandolier, which goes across his left shoulder, which looks really good. The back of Mando's armor is painted in that really nice silver, and you can see the ports for his jetpack. The jetpack is a really nice silver and plugs onto his back really tightly. Something to note is that he does have a port for the pulse rifle, which is a very nice detail. Mando is wearing his shoulder pauldrons, which are done in that really impressive silver. The paint apps on them are really good, and on his right shoulder you can see the insignia for the Mudhorn. His gauntlets are done very nicely. On the left side it's done in that same silver, and you can see the ports for the whistling birds. His right gauntlet also carries over some impressive detail that we see from the show. Mando's belt is connected to the bandolier, as well as the padding that you see on his torso. On the right side we do have that blue hip pad, as well as the holster for his blaster. And on the left side we have another hip pad, as well as 3 thermal detonators and a hook for the Darksaber. And as you can see, Hasbro did do a good job updating his thigh armor. The armor on his right thigh is perfectly proportioned, and I love the detailing that goes into it. And then he does have a smaller thigh pad on his left side, and that still has some impressive detail. As well as on the left side you can see his knee pad. Unfortunately the dart launchers are not painted. Mando's boots are also done really nicely, with that asymmetry coming through really good here. On the right side we do have cartridges for his pulse rifle, as well as storage for his vibro knife. And on the left side we do have a brown boot with some straps and a pouch. Finally, taking a look at his cape, it's about time Hasbro finally gave Mandalorian a cloth cape. It's really soft and does get out of the way, and I really do like the material it's made out of. So overall, a really well detailed figure, and I like what Hasbro has done with this updated Mandalorian. So with all his impressive details out of the way, let's compare the Mandalorian to our usual suspects. Here we have the Mandalorian posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and DC Multiverse Superman, Mattel's WWE Elite Collection and Mezco's 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man, the Lightning Collection White Ranger, and the Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally we have the new Mandalorian posed next to Season 1 Mando and Season 2 Mando. So as you can see, a very welcomed update to an already great figure. With his comparisons out of the way, let's have a look at his articulation. Mando here has a double ball joint in the head and a ball joint in the neck. Butterfly joints in his shoulders. Arms go out to the side and do a full 360. Hinge and swivel at his elbows. Hinge and swivel at his wrists. Mando does have a ball joint in his torso. Legs do kick forward, go back, out to the side, and have a thigh swivel. He has a swivel hinge in his knees, a hinge in his ankle, and forward facing pin for rocker ankle. So overall, some pretty impressive articulation here for the Mandalorian. So with everything said and done about the Mandalorian, let's get him posed for my final thoughts. And so here we have the Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian pose for my final thoughts, and overall I have to say Hasbro has done a really good job here with this Mandalorian. Despite being known for their constant reuse and reissue, it is surprising to actually see Hasbro release an update to their Mandalorian figure. A lot of improvements were made on this figure, specifically in the size of some of his armor parts. The fact that they did make his helmet a little bit bigger does make it feel like there's an actual human head underneath his helmet rather than a tight-fitting helmet. Add to it increasing the size of his chest plate and his shoulder pads, it really does make it seem like there's an actual person underneath this suit. Even his accessories got a major overhaul, with his blaster having some really good detail that wasn't seen on those original figures. And probably the best update to this Mandalorian figure is the fact that we finally got a soft goods cape for him. This has to be the best Mandalorian figure that Hasbro has ever produced, and it's actually better than a lot of SH Figure Arts Mandos. Overall, the paint job and detailing here on this figure makes it exceptionally well done, and you have to give Hasbro props on how good this figure actually came out. At the time of making this video, Mandalorian is starting to hit stores like Walmart and Target, and Amazon is shipping out their shipment of Mandos as well. I did pick up Mandalorian from Amazon, so he did run me about $27 after taxes, but I have to say, with the amount of work that went into him, it's well worth it. Even if you have those previous Mandalorian figures, I strongly recommend you get this version because it is the definitive Hasbro Mandalorian. So with that being said, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and check out all my other Star Wars and Mandalorian videos. If you're in a position to support the channel, check out my Patreon where I have some new exclusive content. Check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, videos, recent pickups, latest prints, and as always, ring that bell so you never miss another video. And until next time, my fellow Dragonites coming from the Dragon Den, I'm King of Dragons 5000 reminding you to redesign, rebuild, and reclaim. I'll see you next time.